How much are you willing to give up in a trade to make the playoffs? And you really have to look at the big picture of this ball club. How well is this team playing? Mediocre. Since May 1st, very mediocre. In fact, since May 1st, they're 33 and 33. Okay, is that a playoff team? Now, I know March and April, they got off to a great start, but I mean, this is not a small sample size. This is a 66 game sample size, 33 and 33. It's like kissing your sister, a tie. Major hole offensively with the catching position, and I don't know how you're going to solve that. I really don't. I mean, who's available out there that's going to be a whole lot better? You know, you may get a guy that swings the bat a little bit better, but you may give up a little bit defensively. But I'll be honest with you, where this team is at offensively behind the plate, I'm willing to give up a little bit defensively. It's not like Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz or Johnny Bench. So I'm willing to give up some stuff defensively. Now we can talk about Luis Campusano, who, by the way, got optioned back to AAA. He came up for that Sunday game, went 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts, and an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. He came up for Gavin Sheets. And congratulations to Gavin Sheets and his wife. They had their first child this past weekend. And so Gavin's back with the ball club now in Washington, and Luis Campusano rejoins El Paso. But if next time you bring up Campusano, if you bring him up, let the guy catch. Let the guy catch. Well, you know, we know what he's all about. Put him behind the plate. What do you got to lose? And maybe he'll start swinging the bat a little bit better. He's 0 for 21. 0 for 21. He's got as many hits as you and I do, which is amazing to me because he's not a bad hitter and been tearing it up all year long in the PCL and was a 250 career hitter in the big leagues until this year. Padres have really devalued him a great deal. And I don't know what the rub is there. I don't know if Schultz doesn't want to play him behind the plate or AJ saying don't play him behind the plate. I don't know what the deal is on that. But he's no use to you as a designated hitter because he doesn't get into the flow of the game. And maybe even if he's catching, he won't get into the flow of the game. So you're probably going to have to go outside the organization to get some catching help. And I don't know what's out there. I mean, I don't see anybody great because I look at the catching position right now in the major leagues not being all that great. So if you got a good catcher, man, hang on to him. But major hole offensively behind the plate. They definitely need another bat. And they need a catcher and they need another bat because they need a DH. I mean, Gavin Sheets, we sat here for weeks and weeks and weeks going, man, they need a left fielder. Hey, Gavin Sheets is doing a hell of a job out there. He gotten a whole lot better. And it's amazing hard work and getting out there, at 2:30 in the afternoon and working on taking fungos, taking balls off the bat during BP, working on your first step, opening up, going to the gap, backhanding the ball, going to the line, making plays. And he's worked hard with the first base coach, David Macias. So we don't need a left fielder. We may need a left fielder next year because they're going to have to come to some kind of deal with Gavin Sheets to bring him back. But we need another bat. We need a designated hitter. That's what we need. We need a designated hitter that can do some damage. And maybe if you got an idea out there, type it in. Who should they go get? Who should they go get as the DH? I remember when the DH first started, they normally had old veteran guys that could still hit, but they couldn't run and they couldn't throw and they couldn't field, but they could still rake. They use that DH spot a lot differently now. Bench depth. I'm all for it. This bench has got to be one of the worst the Padres have had in years. And the reason for that, I think, is because they've got so many guys on long-term contracts. I mean, the Padre payroll would choke a horse. Would absolutely choke a horse. I mean, with all the long-term deals of guys playing, not playing, we know the infield, between Cronenworth, Bogarts, Machado, ton of money. You got Tatis out there making a little bit more this year. Josh Merrill, or Jackson Merrill, I should say, going to be making more in the future. But you got Musgrove on the IL right now. You got money invested in Darvish. Got money invested. Arise, of course, only a 1-year deal. Cease and King. all those guys. And so you got a bench that's not very good. Okay, so you're going to need to add to the bench. Boy, I would love for a guy a couple of years ago if he'd have come through. He didn't really do all that much here, but a Brandon Drury type of guy, a guy that's a veteran that can play some different spots, DH, play second, play first, maybe play left field. But the bench depth on this team, and I hate to dog guys, and I'm not going to call anybody out by name, but the depth on the bench here for the Padres is terrible. It's not a playoff bench. Okay, starting pitching right now, kind of all over the roadmap. I mean, we got Pavetta, Vasquez done a nice job. Cease pitching tonight. You never know what you're going to get out of him, even though the guy's got the best stuff on the staff, in my opinion. He just can't harness it. Kolek, I guess they're going to bring him back up. For the time being, they sent him down to El Paso to kind of continue to work, kind of a paperwork move there. And then you got Darvish. Darvish going to throw the second game in Washington, be his third start. We'll see what he can bring to the table. But, how much are you willing to give up for a playoff run? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't care who you bring in. I don't see this team going real deep in the playoffs this year. This is not the same um, upbeat, excitable ball club that we had a year ago. And maybe because of Profar was a fired up player. And he did a great job at the top of the lineup. And we can sit here and say, well, was he on the juice or he wasn't on the juice? I don't know. But I know this, the Padres were better with him on the ball club. And I just don't see giving up a whole lot to try to salvage this year. I think if they stand pat and they play up to their expectations, I think they could definitely be a wild card team. But my expectations, getting to the NLCS or getting to the World Series and winning it, I think it's a pipe dream. I just don't see it this year. Just things aren't aligning the way I would like. Jackson Merrill hadn't played great. Arise has been okay, and he'll probably hit better in the second half. Fernando, after a great start, been mediocre. I know you can look at OPS and WAR and all that. I'm watching every night. He's been okay. He hadn't been great. He not the last 2 months. He is not a superstar. The first 6 weeks, first 7 weeks, he was probably the best player in the National League, if not all of baseball. The way he was doing things, offensively, defensively, running the bases. But the last couple of months, he's been just a little bit better than average for me. And maybe I expect too much out of Fernando. But, I would love for him to hit about 290 with about 35 bombs and drive in, 90 runs. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Power numbers are way down, I think, home run wise. But, maybe the second half. I know it's getting warmer. Get those balls in the air. We'll see. But Fernando's got to play better the second half. Bogarts is continuing to do what he's doing, playing a good shortstop, swinging the bat pretty well. Maybe hit a few more home runs. That would be nice. But it is what it is. And Gavin Sheets, just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing a really nice job for the Padres.